Elsie's Little Pickles, the pickle pod for the people. But this is going to be a very, very interesting and different and fun and hopefully not a lot of politics. Hopefully we can actually just wrap ourselves in the season that's beginning now, which is Halloween. It's our favorite time of the year.
Well,
We love Halloween. We're huge, huge fans of Halloween. Our favorite sounds.
oh. Yes.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
I've got a wolf howling with some creepy music as my ringtone,
That.
which is always a lot of fun when I'm like in a crowd of people. I'll just let it play in.
So,
You guys hear something?
I will say this, okay? Before we get into the news, before we actually get into the excitement of Halloween and how much fun we have with Halloween, I will say that, unfortunately, my view on Halloween and all holidays has gone a little sideways, okay? Now, we'll get to that. I'm not going to jump into that right away, but I do, for as much as I fucking hate holidays, and everyone who knows me knows I fucking hate holidays, this is the one that I hate the least. And in fact, have a soft spot.
That you hate the least.
It is. It's the one I hate the least. It's the one that I can still have a little bit of childhood memories that are fond and hopefully these memories don't get fucked up as bad as they have by business and so on and so forth. But we'll get to that in a minute. Right now, let's do the news. What you got?
Well, I've got news from 3 days ago where Elon Musk's Twix, or X, I prefer Twix,
I like Twix.
suspends 5.3 million accounts, flags 10.6 million posts in the first transparency report amid user and advertiser decline.
Oh. So basically, he
Which-
was trying to close down all the accounts that were bots.
Not just bots, just the ones that he doesn't want to have a voice, and bots.
Yeah.
But, you know, the social media platform of free speech is not exactly free.
Yeah, and that, along with the no blocking, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I think his free speech experiment is going to come around and bite him in the ass a little bit. I do. I think that
He's just proven himself to be a hypocrite, like he claims other people are.
well, that's the thing is it's easy to throw stones at glass houses until you're living inside that glass house. And now he's living inside that glass house and realizing that there are just some things that you just can't let fly in order for your business to survive and thrive. You know, I mean, he's got to at some point make decisions between what he thinks is in his best interest or in his interest, or as far as like what he wanted out of it, versus what the reality is of what he's going to have to do to control the Frankenstein monster. And it is a monster at this point. Like it's a fucking dumpster fire.
It's a dumpster fire.
I used to be a big.
I'll tag him and heckle him if I see something ridiculous on there.
I just responded to something he said that I thought was ridiculous. And I'll tell you what, I'll even read his post and my post if you want. And I very rarely post.
Please do.
You know, I'm not a poster.
We're just all about transparency, unlike Elon.
Yeah.
We don't need special reports to.
You know what? I think I might have gotten fucking punked. Hold on.
Oh,
Let's see here.
well, you can't really tell all the time on Twix because, I mean, what it costs you $10 to get the blue check mark under his system.
Yeah.
So even if you set up a fake account, you can get a blue check mark because they just want money.
Okay. So here's what threw me off.
Yeah.
The person who liked my response to Elon is Elon R. Musk, who is, you know, obviously a parody account or bullshit account. He's got 58 followers, but who I actually responded to, because I usually pay attention, is actually Elon. So he said, very few Americans realize that if Trump is not elected, this will be the last election. Far from being a threat to democracy, he's the only way to save it. Let me explain. Even if 1 in 20 illegals become citizens per year, something that Democrats are expediting as fast as humanly possible, that would be about 2 million new legal voters in 4 years. The voting margin in swing states is often less than 20,000 votes. That means the Democratic Party succeeds, there will be no more swing states. Moreover, the Biden-Harris administration has been flying asylum seekers who are fast-tracked to citizenship directly into swing states like Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Arizona. It is a surefire way to win every election. America then becomes a one-party state and democracy is over. The only elections will be the Democratic Party primaries. This already happened in California many years ago following the 1986 amnesty. Well, that amnesty was under Ronald Reagan, who is no fucking Democrat. The only thing holding California back from extreme socialism and suffocating government policies is that people can leave California and remain in America. Once the whole country is controlled by one party, there will be no escape. Everywhere in America will be like the nightmare that is downtown San Francisco. So, again, I very rarely respond to people, but I just couldn't let this go. I'm like, this thought, while provoking, is flawed because the Republican cure in Trump has and will prove to be worse than the disease you describe. Even if your argument proves true, which is highly debatable, Trump will do more damage. He has the track record proving it. I think that that's a pretty succinct answer to that long diatribe of Mr. Musk. And I think that what's going on, quite frankly, would make anyone howl at the moon.
I was so confused for a second there. I was like,
So I think that while Elon is a very, very smart man, I think that he is starting to eat his own shit. I wouldn't be surprised if, like Howard Hughes, he's got an office or a bedroom filled with, empty milk, 1 gallon milk jugs that he's, peeing in. So like he's getting to the point where like he's either as smart and crazy genius that we all believed he was before, or he's fucking losing it. Like maybe the stress of all those ideas, those heavy duty ideas that are bouncing around his head is literally creating an RFK brain worm that is going to eat
well,
the base of his brainstem.
Can we honestly say though that his head is full of ideas? He just buys other people's ideas.
Well,
he is today's version of Thomas Edison.
Yeah, but both Edison and him were smart enough to do that. You know what I mean? Like, regardless, the guy's a genius. He's working on a different plane than most of us. That doesn't mean that he knows everything about everything, though. And that's where I think he's making the big mistake, is stick to what you know. And the stuff that you think you know, you probably should just shut the fuck up on until you're sure you know. So that's my view on Twix and Elon is I think he's literally starting to eat his own shit.
Only now am I starting to see the Cybertrucks places.
Oh yeah, and they're fucking ugly.
And they're different looking, but maybe it's just, again, a sign of his genius. The last one that I saw was being towed away.
Nah.
So do with that info what you will. In other news.
Yeah, let's move on.
But actually kind of related. Ukraine is discovering Starlink on downed Russian Shahed from Iranian drones. So they're shooting down these drones that Russia has gotten from Iran so far away.
So far away from me. So far.
And I ran so far. Sorry, every time I see the word Iran,
couldn't
Flock
get
of Seagulls
away.
comes to mind. But yeah, they're finding Starlink in the drones that they're shooting down. Thank you very much, Musk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know enough about how that type of technology works to know whether or not they just are buying Starlink technology and then putting it into these, because
you don't really know. It's just,
I mean, that's the thing. Like
one of those things.
You could make the compromise or the comparison rather to Stark Industries And it wasn't until he was over there that he saw that all the shit that was being used to hurt people had his name on it. So I think that there's a certain level of, I don't know, like you can have a country or a bad actor buy your product without you knowing that they're buying your product, disassembling your product and scavenging the parts that they need that might still have your product or your company's name on it and being used without your knowledge for nefarious reasons. I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt, even though I've really kind of like, I've really lost a lot of admiration for Elon in the last 6 months, 8 months, year. I really thought I had it prior to a year ago. I really thought, man, I am so fortunate to live in a time where we have somebody that will be remembered like an Edison, that will be remembered like, you know, a Henry Ford, that will be remembered, you know, like in all these different areas of science, technology, engineering, production. Like, I really kind of like, this is exciting because I'm at, you know, when you talk about, let's say, for example, Edison, or you talk about Nikola Tesla, right? It's easy to forget that they lived in a time where other people around them were going, holy shit, you're the Elon of our time. And to be Elon and have them saying to him, oh my God, you're the Nikola Tesla, you're the, you know, Henry Ford, you're the, you know, Thomas Edison of our time. That's a lot to deal with. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot to live up to. And I don't know what those stresses are running however many companies he's got. I mean, just with SpaceX, Tesla, and Twix, I mean, that's a big carry. You know what I mean? Like, for anyone, that's a lot to keep track of. And when you incorporate, you know, the Boring Company and however many other things that he's got his fingers into, whether as an investor, whether as on the board, like, that's a lot. And, you know, the dude's putting in 80 to 100-hour weeks every week consistently. And I can admire that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did hear that on flights now, on Boeing planes, they're handing out socket sets to each passenger.
Socket sets? Just so you can put the shit back together yourself.
Exactly.
The door about to blow off. We'll fucking break out that socket.
Get the garbage bag, some tape, put it right over.
We got you. Yeah, so I, you know, like I said, I have very, very mixed feelings about Elon these days. I think he's going down the wrong path, but I think, you know, like, once the election is over, if he continues to want to be Lex Luthor rather than Tony Stark, then that's on him. So,
well, only time will tell.
Yeah. Yeah. And who knows what the fuck will come out of that.
And in other news, now bear with me. I'm not gonna read you the headline. I'm just gonna jump right into the story because it'll need some explaining. A sliver of bone from a cave in Russia is at the center of what may be the biggest archaeological story of years. The bone belonged to an ancient human who had a Neanderthal mother and a Denisovan father. They're calling her Denny.
Yeah.
It is the only first-generation hybrid hominin. Hominin?
Hominin. No,
Hominin.
You're right.
Hominin.
Hominid. 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 Homina.
Ever found. It's not a word. It's a hominin, a human. What is interesting about this is that it is showing DNA from two different species in one.
And specifically, neither of those species are us.
Technically, yes and no. Meaning historically there have been, I think, 13 types of humanoids, of species. We are just one of 13.
Right, but what I'm saying is we do
have DNA from several. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, no, like both you and I will have some level of Neanderthal.
technically I have like 2.3% Neanderthal DNA
Oh, that totally makes sense based on your furrowed brow.
and my purifier.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a lack thereof when I probably shouldn't.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is on this particular sample, there's no modern genetics in there at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating because it's showing that they used to believe that Neanderthals died out, but that is not the case.
No, they realized that
they
it
now
was...
have evidence that there was interbreeding going on, if you will,
Right.
of species.
Right. So we were
Look at her single eyebrow over both of her eyes.
That's look,
Get her in a cave.
maybe we should do an archaeology episode because I think that would actually be funny to talk about how these things did come to pass, because they said that Neanderthal, they
He
didn't
had me at ooga ooga.
they didn't oh, you fucker, you got me on that one. She had me at ooga ooga. So what'd you do about it? I went over there, I grabbed her by
bananas on her.
I went over there, I clubbed her over the head, grabbed her by the hair, and fucking took her back to my cave. So
I did notice there, sir, that your Denisovan, your prehistoric person, had a hillbilly accent.
Well, you know them Denisovans, they're always saying, bless your heart. Oh, I don't know about you, Phil, but I'm going to go get me some Denisovan pussy. I like how close the eyeballs are to each other. I can't lie. Really? I'm going to go get me some Neanderthal tail. Why? I like how hairy their backs are.
Like to run my fingers through it. Look at the
every time she's sucking on my dick, she bangs her eyebrow ridge off my pubic bone.
She's got some are teeth. Some are here, some are there.
That eyebrow ridge, man, I don't know. If you can't take it to the base, don't take it in the face, and I don't think you're going to make it past that.
That's right.
All right. enough of the dick jokes and silliness. Let's get to the heart of the matter, which is why we're so excited, and that is it's time for Halloween. So, I think it's important, since you're the master of this. This has been the most important holiday to you.
Yes, massa.
This has been the most important holiday to you, probably ever since you understood what Halloween was. And for that, I mean, you were probably 2 or 3 years old when you realized, oh, I get to dress up, walk up to a door, and get free candy. That was the beginning of it.
Can't
for
beat
you.
that free candy.
You can't beat that free sweet ass candy. And you were like hugely, hugely into Halloween, as was I, all the way up until, and I think this is normal for most people, at least in our generation. You'd get up to, junior high or whatever, and you would try to do the teenage casual Halloween stroll, but you knew you were too old for it, even though you were enjoying it and whatever, right? But
I would still be doing it if I could.
I would too if I thought I could get away with it. Are you kidding me? Let me get this straight. All I got to do is dress up and
you could be the Denisovan.
Oh.
I could be the Neanderthal. We can go house to house.
House to house. So, but because I want to do actually a couple episodes on this, mainly because this is so integral to who you are as a person. I mean, like Halloween is, you've got Halloween tattoos. You're
My next plan, we plan on visiting Sleepy Hollow, New York. And one of the things I want to do in Sleepy Hollow is actually get some jack-o'-lantern tattoos on my fingers.
I think that's a great idea. But you've already been to Salem.
Yes.
And you spent was it last Halloween you were in Salem?
Yes.
Okay, so last Halloween you were in Salem. This Halloween, well, I don't think you're going to be in Sleepy Hollow, but that might end up being.
No, I'll be
is that next
back
year?
in Texas where they don't take Halloween so kind.
No, they don't. They
At
don't seem
least my vision of Halloween.
right. And we'll get to that. But I think we should do a couple of episodes at least on this because it is, like I said, it is who you are. I mean, this is like football. Like if somebody
There
said,
is a certain satisfaction that I get scaring people so horribly. I've had them vomit. I've had them completely just faint, just pass out. I've even had people vomit. Did I say vomit already?
yeah, did you have anyone piss themselves?
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah.
That's always
Oh,
funny to me.
yeah. I've had the duo where they're actually teenage girls trick or treating, starting the night off. I've got my house all decked out, and we scared them. Well, let me rephrase that. I scared them so bad coming from my neighbor's house to my house. I popped up in between the cars, basically, as they were trying to get away from my neighbors doing what I told them to do. And a buddy of mine. And I popped up looking the way that I do. And the one girl literally did a, and she passed out and pissed herself in the driveway. Apparently she didn't want a treat. She got a trick.
Yeah. So this holiday,
I've made grown adults trample their children, which was awesome.
So the way I look at this is if somebody came to me and they said, okay, describe Keith, describe your pickle pal. It would be Halloween, football,
football and hockey. Those are my two sports.
Hockey, wrestling, Scottish culture.
Yeah.
Kilts, pizza connoisseur.
Yes.
And barbecue connoisseur.
Yes.
I think
that's pretty much it.
Those eight things essentially describe all of you. Well, I should say world traveler and RV lover. So we'll call
I just belched at my dog and he looked at me like, "Meh."
Well, I've had you belch at me and I looked at you the same way. So I think it has more to do, or it says more about you than it says of the dog. So let's get, because like I said, most of this is you, because I think we all go through those stages, like I said, where you realize you're just a little bit too old for trick-or-treating, but you're a little bit too young maybe for certain haunted houses, because the haunted house game is a lot different than it was when we were kids. Even when we were teenagers, it was pretty intense, but it was nowhere near what it is now. The haunted house game, especially in Michigan, is like, now, maybe I'm speaking out of class here, but isn't like one of the best haunted houses in the country in Michigan?
Yes. There are, when it comes to sheer size, there are two haunted houses that are always battling, and I happen to live in both. We have in Michigan, Erebus. I'll give them some free press. Erebus, ran by Ed Terabus. That is battling always for world's largest haunted house, or best. Usually it's largest. And with a cutting edge down in Dallas. And I've been to both. I am a haunted house connoisseur. I used to help build and design them a long time ago. And I am probably the least fun person to go through them.
Yeah, because nothing shocks you. Nothing.
No. If you want to be in a group and you are absolutely terrified to go through, just get behind me. I'll ruin it.
Yeah, it's true. Because I don't like the jump scares. So like, I fucking hate haunted houses. I am so not a jump scare person. Like, I love being scared. I'm just not a jump scare guy. Like, that annoys me.
I get you. I've, non-fictional haunted houses because I've been in the paranormal for over 2 decades. And I would tell everybody from the get-go, if you are going to be funny and silly and try to jump out and scare somebody, you're not going to come with me. I don't put up with that. It's not that I don't have a sense of humor, because I do. It's that if you try to jump scare me and I actually do react, I am not a runaway person. I'm not a screamer.
No, you're
I'm
the
a
puncher.
striker.
Yeah, and I've seen that happen where
And,
somebody tried to jump scare you and you fucking punched them right in the fucking head.
I'll fucking kill someone.
I know.
Like, oh, were you trying to be funny? Let me take you to the hospital.
Sorry about that. You should have listened.
I mean, it is a fun feeling being scared. Not, I'll be perfectly honest. I'd be hard pressed to find something that actually scares me. I really wouldn't know what to say offhand, but they're a lot of fun. I do remember one story in particular. Went with a girl I was dating to I think it was a Trilogy of Terror here in Michigan. She had a group of people from her work. They were going to this Trilogy of Terror. I don't know if you're familiar.
No, I've heard of it, but I've never been.
A couple of haunted houses in one location. It's like a big farm. And they have a cornfield maze with scares. I did not know that the cornfield had people dressed up, in my defense. And I love to scare people. And we got separated, she and I, from her group she was in. And they were the very vocal scream at anything type. And I decided I was going to run through the maze. Whether you know it or not, all mazes have got a formula. I know this because I've worked in them. So the chances of me running full tilt through a corn maze and never making a mistake are very good. Mm-hmm. So I decided I was going to run. I'm not a small man.
No. No, you're not.
And so I am blowing through this corn maze, right? Because my idea is I'm going to get up behind these people and scare the bejesus out of them. I did not know there were people in the maze that were there to scare you. And this poor girl, she had to have been 15, 16 years old, evidently heard me coming and decided to jump out to scare me. And I am booking.
Did you just plow over her?
Football hit her and just kept going. I didn't even go back to see if she was all right. But I hit her hard because I did not know she was popping out. And she did not think that a lunatic would be running through the maze.
Oh, God.
And straight up shoulder blocked her right in the chest. And I didn't even slow. Dude. Because I didn't see her coming. And all I heard was a... And I just kept going. And turned my head like, oh, that sucks.
So,
but, yeah.
So the reason why I kind of wanted to do these episodes is because I'm trying desperately to hold on to the last holiday that I even have any taste for, if that makes sense.
Well, I've got some help for you.
Well, hold on, because and here let me give a little reason why, and then we'll get into the history of the holiday briefly. But the thing is that it, to me, the corporatization and the monetization of every holiday at every goddamn store that exists, whether it's a restaurant, it doesn't matter where, right? So you talk about the season of Jason, which is July, August, September, October, November. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem, if you ask me. Because the 5th of July, you start seeing fucking Halloween shit.
That's right. We got to get ready.
So if I'm seeing Halloween shit in July, August, September, and October, by the time that's 4 months of me seeing Halloween shit. 3 to 4 months of seeing Halloween shit out. By the time Halloween actually gets here, I'm fucking over Halloween. And then you have right around the end, like the 3rd or 4th week of August, maybe first or second week of September, they start jamming Thanksgiving and Halloween. And by the time Thanksgiving gets here, which is a holiday even as a kid I thought was bullshit and go fuck yourself, I'm not interested. And
I like Thanksgiving, but even right now, I am starting to see Christmas shit.
Yes, this is my point.
And I like Christmas stuff. I do enjoy Christmas. I love the feeling, the the seasonal lights. I love lights on houses. And I get it. Halloween comes out early. People got to prepare. People are got to prepare for Christmas and getting all their crap. But at the same time, I ignore it. You know, oh, isn't the Christmas stuff so beautiful in the stores? Yeah, it's beautiful the second week of November.
I can't. That's what I'm saying is
I'm still engulfed in Halloween. Thank you very much.
I cannot take. I mean, those are the big three, right? By anyone's fucking imagination, those are the big three, and they are also big revenue drivers. You know, as far as like Halloween candy, as far as Halloween decorations,
when it comes
and costumes.
to commercialization, Halloween comes out early. Christmas comes out early. You also do see, as soon as the new year hits, they've got Valentine's Day crap out.
Right.
They're quick to jump at Valentine's Day and then Easter.
Right.
Which
they
Easter's
jam those too. Yeah.
The least that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I am. We did egg poop and bunnies as an episode, proving how much we fucking hate Easter. But my point is that the holidays. There's a lot of reasons why I don't like the holidays, and a lot of those reasons might be family related because of instances that I had to deal with our family. But really what it boils down to, I think more than anything is that even at an early age, I was like, I can only take 1 month of a holiday. That's all I need. And I don't even need that much. Give me 3 weeks. Give me 3 weeks of a holiday and I'm good. See,
I totally get it, and I would agree with you, except for Halloween. To me, there isn't enough.
Well, that's
everything
why,
about fall.
That's
pumpkin spice, gimme.
Oh yeah,
cinnamon, nutmeg, gimme.
Well, hold on, and that's what I'm saying. But they take it too far. Okay, when you're looking at the last week of August, and Starbucks has come out with their pumpkin spice fucking latte. Enema. I mean, like.
Well, the problem there is Starbucks. I am not a fan.
I'm not
because I like coffee.
I love coffee, but I'm so done with this. Everything is holiday related, especially going into fall. Like fall is literally my favorite time of year, and it's my favorite time of year because I love the changing of the colors on the trees. I love the cooling off of things. I love the fact that we're going into, where any circumstance where I can go outside in a light jacket or a hoodie and be perfectly, I love that. Okay.
See, I want to tell you and other people around the world that this altitude, geographically speaking, where we are.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. I have noticed a decline in enjoying Halloween while I'm in Texas.
And because they're not into it like they are in the northern states.
No, they are.
It's different. It's different. Come on, it is
different, but it's different for me in the sense that it is not fun to do Halloween related things when it is 90 degrees.
Well, that's my point. They're just not into it in the same way, and it's because of the environment. So, like, even when I lived in California, all right, and Christmas comes around, it's very difficult to get into the holiday spirit when it's 75 degrees outside. It's very hard to get into the spirit of Halloween when there's not a little bit of a crisp chill in the air. You know what I mean? Something that makes you want to have a hot cider and a donut.
A few years ago, we had the in-laws down for Thanksgiving in Texas, and the father-in-law said it best. It's weird when you have to wear shorts and it's Thanksgiving, because it was legit 92 degrees.
Right. And you got no choice.
It's just like,
and you shouldn't be eating turkey in shorts. Like, you shouldn't be eating a Thanksgiving meal in shorts and a wife beater. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't add up. You know what I mean? Especially when you get to the Jell-O at the end with walnuts in it. Anyway, I think that
with walnuts.
That's what Auntie used to make. Remember?
Yeah, I know. But some of the things that I find hopeful for Halloween, to get into the spirit is obviously watching different things. Like,
Well, before you go there, okay,
all right.
I think we need to
Yeah.
give people just a brief origin of Halloween. Okay.
Oh, all right. Go ahead.
The origin, according to AI, the
I'll
origin,
let you know if you're right or wrong.
yeah, the origin of the origin of Halloween dates back over 2,000 years to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. The Celts who lived in what's now Ireland, the United Kingdom, and northern France celebrated this new year on November 1st. Samhain marked the end of the summer and the harvest and the beginning of the dark, cold winter, time often associated with death. The Celts believed that on the night before the new year, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. On the night of October 31st, they celebrated Samhain when it was believed that the ghosts of the dead returned to Earth. To ward off these spirits, people lit bonfires and wore costumes often made of animal heads and skins. As Christianity spread, the church sought to replace the pagan festival with a Christian one. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as All Saints' Day to honor all saints and martyrs, which was also called All Hallows' Day. The night before, October 31st, became known as All Hallows' Eve, which eventually evolved into Halloween. Over time, Halloween incorporated various traditions, including the practice of souling, where poor people would go to the door-to-door offering prayers for the dead in exchange for food, which later influenced the modern custom of trick-or-treating. The holiday further developed in America with Irish and Scottish immigrants bringing their Halloween tradition in the 19th century. Halloween has since become a more secular celebration featuring costumes, trick-or-treating, and decoration.
Mm-hmm.
Anything, did I fuck up any of that?
No, that was good.
All right. So now we know what it is and where it came from.
I, along with a lot of Americans, call Samhain Samhain because it's the Anglo pronunciation of the words, Samhain.
Mm-hmm.
But Samhain, huge.
Huge.
Carve a little turnip instead of a, pumpkin.
Yeah, because it started with turnips, didn't it?
Yes.
And gourds, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. So it was turnips
Which
or gourds.
naturally for the United States, America, would be pumpkins.
Yeah. Why? We got to do everything bigger.
Yes. And, to this day, I don't really carve pumpkins very often, but I do enjoy it. Get your hands in the muck of the pumpkins and get the seeds and bake those. Throw, your old pumpkins at houses of people you don't like.
All right. So we're going to start this series because I want to call it a series. And this is part 1 in it. I'm gonna start the series with 2 questions for this episode. My first question is what was, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna allow answers for different points in your life. Okay.
Okay.
So 0 to 10 age, 10 to 20, and 20 on forward. Right.
Okay.
Name your favorite costume.
As a child, it would probably had to have been something with Star Wars, because
I think it was when mom had me as C3PO and you, I think, were R2D2. If I remember correctly.
And if I remember correctly, we were both like, oh.
Yeah, neither of us wanted
you
that.
didn't get Darth Vader or Luke?
We wanted Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. We ended up with C3PO.
I believe,
R2D2.
though, that we didn't get those because, 1, they were probably sold out.
Yeah, I'm
and
sure.
2, Mom's favorites in the entire world were C3PO and R2.
And she definitely felt like we represented that.
Yes.
So,
yes.
My favorite costume was a homemade one. And me and Mom worked on it for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was?
No.
Greatest American Hero. 5th grade.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something.
Believe it or not.
after all of those plastic masks that had that shitty elastic band that would always break and then you were fucked, and then sweating your ass off in those plastic bodysuits, right?
Yeah, and the mask, because
you would just have, it would just be covered with sweat and spit from fucking things.
It's because of the hot air, cold air, you get condensation.
Yeah, it was always, your face was always soaked and your hair was soaked afterwards. It sucked, right? But all of those came in the same box, and it just showed you the picture, and it was this box that had
the box from Farmer Jack.
Yeah, and it was folded, the folded plastic, cover up or coveralls, and then the fucking mask on top. But I used to so look forward to it, and it wasn't just about the candy; it was also about the dressing up. But there was something that happened when me and Mom made that costume. It was something changed, and all of a sudden we were working together for one goal. And the goal, we were a team, and the goal was to make it as accurate as possible. And I remember what was really special is that particular Halloween, she actually let me go out. And mind you, people don't realize, during that period of time, there was still the Oakland County killer scare going on.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So this was...
We were going to cover that eventually.
Yeah, we will cover that.
I want to do an episode on the Oakland County child killer case.
And that was still prevalent in her mind at that point, and Dad's. But that was the first Halloween that I was allowed to go with my friends and not have an adult. And man, we went hard. We went deep into the neighborhood. We were on the other side of Common. We were everywhere, right? I mean, and I brought back a sack of fucking candy. It was a full pillowcase, 3/4 filled. I had candy forever, and everyone was like, dude, that's a great costume. Even though I got teased at school for it when we had costume day, until they saw how well I was doing. Like, when we went back to school the next day or a couple days later or whatever it was, all my buddies were like, yeah, you shouldn't have picked on him. He scored bigger than all of us. I mean, I had so much fucking candy. It was ridiculous. So that for me was a fond childhood memory. And that was probably my favorite costume during that period of time. Now, you now let's go 10 to 20.
10 to 20.
Mm-hmm.
What specifically are you looking for? Favorite costume?
Just favorite costume.
10 to 20, probably the best. I was about 15, 16 years old. And a friend of mine and we really liked A Clockwork Orange. And so we did Alex and his Droogs. We had 3 or 4 friends. We all dressed up, and we went house to house as the Droogs. And not only was there the eyebrow raising from other people of, are these costumes or are these just hoodlums?
Yeah.
But there were 2 houses in particular that, let me clear my throat. My buddy Elton would knock with his cane, trick or treat, all in a British accent. And 2 houses answered the door and it went absolute ape shit over us.
Oh, really?
And yeah, at both houses, they gave us all their candy.
No shit.
They were like, this is awesome. Boom. You guys deserve this.
You won. Yeah. You won Halloween.
And we were like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
They got it. And some other houses were like, what are you? And we'd never tell them. Elton would launch into something silly, from the movie, but it was just awesome. And the feeling that there's a group of us, we could take anyone's candy if we wanted.
So for me, during that time frame, I thought so I used to hang out with a bunch of older guys, right? That were out of high school in their low to mid 20s. And I was 15. But because I was funny or whatever, I don't know the reasons actually, to be honest with you, but they had all been introduced to me and then invited me into their group. And then people from my group got invited in. Right. So this was like, we're probably 17. And one of the quote unquote adults was having a Halloween party and made a very big deal about like, look, all costumes have to be like top notch, right? They got to be, otherwise you're not invited to the next one. So me and my buddy Dan, we decide we're going to be pirates, right?
Yep.
So we show up and we've got like, pirate, like black pants and I don't even know what kind of boots we were wearing or whatever. But Mom made both of us basically the Seinfeld puffy shirt.
You know what? I think I remember that. Matching.
Right? Yeah, we were matching, right? So we show up and like we get there not on time, but not early by any stretch of the imagination, right? The party's supposed to start at like 7. I think we showed up at like 7:30, 7:45 or whatever. And we walk in and no one's in fucking costume. No one. Fucking guy that's running the party, not in costume. And we walk in and they're like, they fell for it. Ah! And it was so embarrassing until, and I don't know if you remember this guy, buddy of mine, Paul, right? He was actually older than everyone, but he worked at Domino's. And he was able to snag, what was it called? The Noid? Was that it?
Yeah. Avoid the Noid.
Yeah. So he was able to snag the Domino's, the actual Domino's Noid costume. And he shows up as a fucking Noid.
Oh,
thinking
boy.
he's going to win this shit. Like he's going to be the bomb at this fucking party. And it turns out he's the biggest fucking loser.
In that situation, if I had shown up in the Noid and people were laughing at me, I would start stealing the shit.
Oh, I look, I can tell you one thing. I think I can tell you for a fact, actually, he stole a lot of booze because he kept sneaking bottles in to get
Good
even.
man.
So he would anytime he had the opportunity to slide a bottle of booze into his Noid costume, he would do that, and then he'd go outside to have a cigarette and put the booze in his car. So he stole probably easy $200-$300 worth of booze that night. All right, now moving along.
Yes.
You can't have Halloween without scary movies.
Yes.
You can't
Really quick, I want to bring up an honorable mention in my early 20s.
Okay.
It was Halloween night, and it coincided with a Danzig concert. Big Danzig fan. And so I went and did this prosthetic mask that was a skull. And I had my haunted house cape, a cloak, if you will. And it was special because it was made for me by a professional.
Oh, wow.
So it was oversized because I wanted to be able to hide anywhere in any kind of darkness. But it was also flameproof because I would set myself on fire purposely at haunted houses and run at people. And so I had this cloak on. I straight up looked like the Grim Reaper. The mouth moved when I talked because I made it up. It was prosthetics. And went to the Danzig show. Tickets were $6.66. And it was at the Fox Theater. And I walked out of there with about $300. And it was because people kept paying me to go scare the shit out of people at the concert.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was awesome.
Yeah, that definitely deserves an honorable mention. The reason I don't have any stories after that story about the puffy shirt is because I don't think I dressed up in my 20s and 30s. I did it again when I started taking my son trick-or-treating. And if I had to give an honorable mention, it would be to that costume because I had this leather skull looking mask, right?
I remember that.
Okay. And then I took the graduate because I didn't have a cloak, right? So I took my graduation gown and added about 4 feet of material to the bottom of it and added a hood to it, right? And I had gotten stilts for doing drywall. I had learned how to walk on stilts, so I was 28 inches high at the bottom of my feet. So that's 2 feet 4 inches of additional height. So I get into the whole outfit, right? I get the stilts on, I get the cloak on, I get the hood on, and then I put the mask on. And I'm waiting for everyone to get ready to go start walking. And I'm literally leaning on the top of the garage, right? Just casually in this outfit because fuck else, I'm like, I can't sit down, right? I can't. But I had gotten good enough on stilt that I could walk pretty far. And in fact, I think I made it all the way around the block once, which if you're walking in stilts, that is not easy to do, especially when you got little kids running around and being terrified and all this, right? So that was really the last time I really went all out. I was about 10 feet tall, roughly, and in this kind of like death cloak with the skull leather mask. And I'm telling you, I think that there are kids today that are still in therapy over seeing me that night. You know what I mean? Like it really fucked with a lot of people. Even adults were like, I mean, because I literally was walking, you know, you got somebody that's 10 feet tall, basically walking the neighborhood at night dressed as death. so there were some looks, and that was probably the most fun I ever had because not just the response of the kids, but also the response of the parents. I mean, everyone got into the spirit of it with that one. All right. Enough of that. Again, there are certain things that make Halloween Halloween. Obviously, the costume, which you spend 2, 3, 4 weeks, maybe more, sometimes a couple months preparing. I think that's what takes the most amount of time and effort is figuring out what costume, what you're going to wear, and then getting it all together. That to me is one of my favorite parts. The second thing you need, obviously, is candy. The third thing you need, obviously, at some point, you need to go pick out a pumpkin, have cider and donuts. Like this is all building up to Halloween. It's not even on Halloween yet. That's why I always loved that holiday, is because it was the whole month of October, and maybe a little bit more. But fuck you with the 4 months ahead of time. That's enough. But it was this opportunity to enjoy all these little bits of that, and in that, you would have scary movies or Halloween related movies, or even, you know, the Peanuts special about Halloween. So
it's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown.
It's a Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. So like there were all these things that led up to Halloween that were always meant to kind of like get you excited for Halloween. So it was really that part of it was special. So let's go down the movie path. And like I said, since we're going to do multiple episodes on this, give me 5. Give me your 5 essentials.
All right. I'm going to give you some essentials if you give me a couple yourself.
Okay.
If you have any. Do you have any?
I don't really. Okay. But if I
we'll ignore you. I'll
just give yours. I will contribute though. All right.
Oh, okay.
It's not a scary movie, but it was always one of my favorite movies that had that kind of like Halloween vibe to it. Beetlejuice.
Yeah, that is on my list.
I love Beetlejuice. I don't think you really should go through the holiday of Halloween without watching it. I would also go just about any of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
The original, and I'll put in there 2 and 3 just to.
Well, I saw the original in the theater, so the original will always have a soft spot in my heart because of that. I remember it. I still remember who I was hanging with. We've already had this conversation. I remember who, it was me, 2 guys and a girl, and it was the first R-rated movie that we had ever been able to get into, and there was a lot of reasons why that was special.
Yeah, I get that.
Beyond that, I mean, I'm just not a horror guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I like suspense.
I kind of get that from you. Some of the stuff on my list, isn't exactly always horror, because I feel like horror has its place, but I like to have fun.
Right.
And granted, scaring other people is a lot of fun.
But there's different ways
but
to
Halloween
do it.
is more than just scary.
Yeah, so like I liked Johnny Depp in was it
Edward Scissorhands,
no. The Hollows.
Sleepy Hollow.
Was it Sleepy Hollow?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember if they
1999.
I couldn't remember if they tried to put a quirky spin on that or not. That's what I wanted to
did.
say. But I
The first time I
that.
saw it, I was disappointed. But then I was like, oh, but some of the imagery, it's kind of cool. Christopher Walken as the Headless Horseman.
Right.
That was fun. And so now it's actually on my list because I do enjoy it. The
I
first time
brought that
saw
up
it,
because I didn't
hated
think it would be. I brought that up because
Yeah,
I knew
no,
it would
it's-
be on mine, but I didn't think it'd be on yours.
it. Well, we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, maybe, but Young Frankenstein.
Mm.
And we discussed this, so I won't go into great detail.
One of the
listen
greatest
to
movies ever.
The previous show or the show before that.
Putting on the
Great
Ritz. Werewolf.
What was that? Werewolf.
Werewolf.
Why are you talking like that?
Thought that's what we were doing.
No, stop it.
Eh.
I'm easy.
I'm easy. I love that fucking movie.
And if no Halloween is complete, I don't care who you are. Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, yes.
See it on Halloween.
It's
See
the
it
best.
late at night.
It's the best.
It's just a lot of fun. There's a certain feeling and camaraderie with the audience. It's a different level.
You know,
I was fortunate enough to do that in my early teens, and it's never left me. To this day, I love the music. I was just listening to it yesterday on, while driving.
Right.
Love it.
It's interesting because I listened to that album as well. To this day,
Really?
yeah. I was a huge Rocky Horror fan. Huge. It used to do Sweet Transvestite as an improv sketch kind of thing for open mics, and I would get a big response for it. Yeah, huge Rocky Horror fan.
Absolutely.
So that gives us.
It's unfortunate. We should have been friends back in the day.
Wouldn't that have been nice?
We
Instead,
should
we
have
were
known each
brothers.
other. If only.
Instead, we were brothers. So we've got Beetlejuice.
Yes.
We've got Rocky Horror. We've got Young
Yes.
Frankenstein.
Yes.
We've got Nightmare on Elm, Sleepy Hollow, and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Hmm.
That's actually a pretty good introduction. And so hopefully what people will do is they'll try to each week we'll give these different movie recommendations on, and this is
Yes.
starting out on the easy side. Like you're not going to
Yes.
get terrified. You're not going to piss yourself. This is the easier
I've only
stuff.
got a few really, I guess, terrifying movies on my list. Otherwise, it is all about feeling and enjoyment.
Yeah. Oh, I've got some that are, in my opinion, psychologically fuck you up.
We'll have to see if they've made my list.
Let's find out. And with that, let's put a pin in it for this spooky Elsie's Little Pickles.